Hello everyone. I know it's been a long time since I've posted and I do apologize for that. But I do have some news and I want to pass all of it on to you, and so much has happened in the last month or so, a couple months. It might take a little bit of time. Anyway, for those of you who are just joining me for the very first time and have not seen the previous videos, you might want to go back and read or watch the others, the one through, I believe I have 4 up already. Before this one, it might make a little bit more sense, but nevertheless, welcome. We're glad you're here, and I hope you get something out of this. I started posting these videos primarily as a way of keeping my friends and family up to date on what was really happening with me. I have friends in a lot of places around the world, and it's kind of hard to talk to each one of them individually, so I thought these videos on YouTube would be a very efficient way of handling that. Okay, let's see. It's been a couple of months, so let me see if I can get my mind in order here and let you know what's going on. First of all, you may find that my voice cracks quite a bit. I'm not 100% sure why that's happening. As with everything else, I'm sure the doctors will say it's the chemo that does it. I don't have any congestion or anything, but just I'll be talking and my voice will just crack, and I can't do anything about it right now. So I will find out more about that hopefully in this next week when I visit with the doctor and have another chemo treatment. Last time we talked, I had just had either number 6 out of 12 or number 5. I don't remember right now. But I was due to have a scan immediately following number 6. That was the halfway point, and the scan was going to tell me whether or not this has all been worth it, whether it's working or not. So I did go and have the scan. They did a CAT scan rather than a PET scan. The CAT scan was less expensive, and therefore the insurance would cover it. The PET scan would not be covered more often than once every, I believe, 6 months. So I had not been 6 months yet. The doctor opted for the CAT scan. I did not want to pay the $10,000 for the scan, for the PET scan. So I went and had the scan and was on pins and needles for several days until I had a chance to talk to the doctor and find out exactly what was said and what they found. I am very happy to report that the scan showed that some of the tumors are completely gone, and the rest of the tumors, for the most part, are shrinking or getting smaller, or are in one way or another showing evidence that they're not active. That was great news. First of all, it gives me a lot of motivation to continue, and I have to admit, with all the problems I was having with side effects, it was starting to get a little tiring to go through the chemo and not know whether or not I was having any real results from it. I didn't want to get 12 sessions into this and find out that it was all for nothing, that the chemo never worked. So that's good news. I'm glad to hear it. Excuse me. I'm glad to hear it, and it will carry me forward through number 12. All right, I've had 8 treatments so far, 8 chemo treatments, and I can see that there are some changes in the side effects. Some are getting better, some seem to be worsening. One of the things that the doctor told me early on was that the side effects from chemo are cumulative. And if I have a certain problem now, early on, it's likely to get a little bit worse as time goes on. And now I recognize and see exactly what he was talking about. You'll notice sometimes I lick my lips a lot. For some reason, the mouth sores that I have, they're very, very small. It's not something you can see, but they do affect my taste, or they affect what I can eat. Some things just taste incredibly hot to me if I eat it. Like ketchup will taste very hot, it's almost like a hot sauce. Will be a little hard to eat. There's a lot of other things that are hard to eat because of the mouth sores. But they do extend into my lips, and sometimes I can't help it. I just have to lick my lips to maybe wet them or soften them up a little bit because the sores seem to be bothering me a little bit. Um, I guess the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that has created a problem for me is weakness. Um, it's a combination really of weakness and neuropathy, but I'll talk about weakness first. Many of the drugs that I take, I've gone through and I've looked at the side effects that they list online. Many of them show that the potential for weakness in the muscles is there with these particular medications, and I'm definitely I'm experiencing that. My muscles seem to have just gone away. I stand up and I feel like I'm going to fall. My cane that I'm using now that helps me get around. Um, my wife Donna thinks that I need to get a walker, and so I probably will get a walker just to have it here in case I feel like I need it. Right now, I don't think I do, but there are a few days out of the 2-week period between sessions that I'm sure I can use it, and it will help for me getting around and keep me from falling. She's scared to death that I'm going to fall, and frankly, I am too. I have to be real careful about what I do. Make a mistake sometimes of turning too quickly. I'll turn to my left as I normally would. My foot would have turned, and like if I was turning to the left, my left foot would have pivoted, and my right foot would have come over, and I'd be gone. But now it doesn't pivot quite so easily, and a couple times I've almost tripped myself by trying to get my feet to move. That's pretty frustrating. But the muscle weakness is very tough, very hard. I have a hard time even eating. I try to pick up a fork and hold a fork to eat, and I can't get around because the muscles in my arm are so weak right now, and right them down into my hand. So the muscles are the muscle weakness is starting to bother me, starting to create some problems. I mentioned neuropathy. The neuropathy is also an issue. I had problems with the numbness, I guess, is where it was when I first started the chemo. The numbness in my feet and my fingertips went away pretty quickly after I had the chemo. After the side effects set in, I'd have it for 2 or 3 days and it would go away. But now, at the end of all of this time, um, the the neuropathy is really bothering me a lot more. The fingertips are much more numb. It makes it hard for me to open things between that and the muscles in my hand and my arm. If I try to open a jar of medicine or something, it's very difficult. I try to do anything with my fingers, very difficult because the neuropathy is getting worse. I think it's one of those cumulative things, like the muscle weakness is cumulative. The bottoms of my feet are still numb a good bit, but I don't think that's really affected me too much. I can walk fairly easily with, even realizing that it's there. Actually, the only time the neuropathy in my feet really points out, even rears its head, is when I'm sitting down, especially with my feet up. If I'm walking, I don't even notice that there's any problems in my feet. That's kind of it. On the neuropathy side also, I had at the last session, after the last chemo treatment I had, a few days later I started having a real burning sensation in my leg, in the upper part, right up near my hip, kind of inside my hip. A real burning sensation that just felt like somebody had a torch to my leg. And when I went back to the doctor this time, he said that he felt that was one of the medications that was causing that, and it's all part of the neuropathy issue. And I questioned why he was cutting back the drug. Some of my chemo drugs actually cut one of them back to nothing, to 0. And I wasn't very happy with that. And he said, well, the side effects are bothering you. And I said, yeah, but I think some of these side effects I'd rather have than the cancer. So put those drugs back, and I'll deal with the side effects. And so right now I have no burning sensation in my leg because he had taken that out, that one drug that he thought created the problem. So I'll find out here real soon whether or not that is the problem, and whether or not what it's going to be like when I go back on that drug. So anyway, that's it as far as the weakness, I guess, and the neuropathy. They're bothering me, I think, more than anything else. Let's see. Weight loss. For those of you who know me and have known me for a while, can probably just see it in my face and in my neck. I almost feel like my ears are getting bigger, but in fact, I think my head is shrinking a little bit. But if you look at my arm, you'll see I have lost an incredible amount of weight, much more so than I would ever have expected. I think around 50 to 60 pounds I have shed, and somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm down into the 170s, 180s, and that's not good. That's not something I wanted to do. I obviously wanted to lose some weight, but not like this. But it's getting pretty. I'm getting pretty slim right now. Doctor would like for me to at least maintain where I'm at and not lose any more weight. Donna feeds me as well as she can. She does a wonderful job of putting great fattening food out for me. And the problem is a lot of times it's very tough for me to eat anything. Food, after I've had a chemo shot, a couple of days later, food starts tasting like cardboard, particularly anything like bread or anything similar to bread. Even noodles or that sort of thing will have that taste of cardboard. She tries to spice things up to give me more taste in the food that I'm eating, and a lot of times it just tastes like spicy cardboard now. So that's just part of the problem with the chemo. But I do eat as much as I can. We're finding some higher fat things to eat. I decided to get some protein powder to go along with the smoothies that Donna makes for me regularly. The protein powder, of course, doesn't do a lot for the calories, but it may help with strengthening the muscles a little bit, because the protein helps strengthen the muscles. So hopefully that will work and that will help. Like I said, protein shakes. I'm having a lot of smoothies. Donna makes me some very good fruit smoothies and tries to keep it as fattening as possible to keep my weight up. Right now, my weight seems to have stabilized a little bit, so maybe we're starting to make some headway on that. I think that's probably it. I know that it's been a long time since I did post anything, and I figured when I finally got around to posting, I would probably have 20 or 30 minutes of a video. But I can't think of anything else right now that's important enough to include. So I'm dealing with loss of my voice. I'm dealing with weakness. I'm dealing with the neuropathy, the fact that I can't use my hands very well. I can't write at all. I mean, it's very difficult to write. I can't do it. Anything that I do, I print, and it still looks like chicken scratch. And even typing is very difficult because my fingers start to cramp up. Not cramp up. There's just no feeling in it. If you don't have any feeling in the tips of your fingers, it's kind of hard to type. So that's what I'm dealing with there. But anyway, the weight loss, the neuropathy, and the weakness in the muscles seems to be the biggest problems. Still a little bit of issue with my mouth, with the sores, and of course the loss of my voice. And hopefully I'll get an answer to that real soon. So that's pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for watching these. I hope that the good news gives you some comfort as well as it does me. That was a wonderful thing to find out about. Apparently it's working. Once I go through number 12, I'll have another scan. This time it will be a PET scan because it will have been 6 months since I started the chemo. So it will be a PET scan, and if there's any other cancer there, it'll light up, and we'll know where it's at and how much of it is there, and then we'll be able to start making some decisions on the next steps. Whether I continue on with the regular chemo or whether I go to some sort of monoclonal therapy, or we'll even talk about other things like bone marrow transplants and stuff like that. I think I'm probably too old for a bone marrow transplant, but still it's something for us to think about and talk about, depending on where the PET scan shows. So as it stands right now, looks like about the third week in June, I will probably have my 12th treatment, and then shortly after that, about within a week after that, I'll have a PET scan. So I'll have some more information by the end of June. I'll update you if there's anything new comes up in the immediate future. I'll update you and try to be a little bit more conscientious about getting these videos out and getting them to you. Again, thank you very much. If you would like to be notified, please subscribe and also hit the little bell, and you should be notified whenever I post another video. It makes it a little easier. Otherwise, you know, I really appreciate you looking at this, and hopefully someone along the line in their older ages is going to see this, going to see my videos, and are going to find them helpful. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember, you can always leave comments, ask questions, and I'll do everything I can to answer your questions. And you know, please keep me in your thoughts, and you know, continue to communicate with me. I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon, I guess. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.